My name is Tomek, and today I wanted to share a story with you about how learning Japanese changed my life forever and how I am so grateful for that. So, it all started, I think, in 2021 when I was sitting on Discord with one of my friends who I used to play League of Legends with at that time. And I looked at his sharing his screen, and what he was sharing is an episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And to be precise, it was part 2, I think. I was about to make fun of him because at that time I used to hate on anime and stuff like that, that online culture. But I sit and watch a couple minutes of it with him, and I noticed that the language that they're speaking in it sounds really cool. And actually I start to I start to enjoy the episode. Joseph was doing some cool shit and stuff like that, and I think to myself, damn, Japanese must be such a cool language. And then I thought about maybe I'd actually start learning it. So what I did was I installed this app on my phone called Busu. I think it was called Busu. Busu language learning, something like that. And using that app, I learned all sorts of basic stuff, like watashi wa tomekku desu, basic greetings, basics of hiragana and katakana. But then it stopped. At that time I was still addicted to video games. I was still doing a bunch of bad habits, not disciplined at all, whatsoever. But the thought of learning Japanese, I still had it somewhere in my mind and I remembered it. So I told my parents to get me a Japanese textbook for my birthday, and I may even have it somewhere. I have a Korean one. It's koreański nie gryzie, so Korean doesn't bite. Yeah. So I had the Japanese doesn't bite textbook. So to say that it isn't scary. It isn't scary. And basically I procrastinated and didn't even open it for a couple more months. Yeah. But finally, around the end of the year, I opened the textbook and I thought, why don't I study the goofy looking characters there? So I learned hiragana, I learned I learned katakana, and yeah, ever since that I didn't quit Japanese basically. Then I studied on online classes. I would study for 90 minutes once a week for almost 2 years. But apart of that, I was very ambitious. I was the most ambitious, hardworking, interested in Japan guy in the whole group. So I used to study a lot by myself, and that made me progress a lot quicker than I would be able otherwise. But still, I wasn't disciplined, and for the first year of my studying, something like that, guess how many hours throughout the whole year I sit down and I sat down and studied on my own, learning kanji, for example, or learning new words. I think I didn't cross 10 hours of studying by myself throughout the whole year. So that was crazy. I mean, I did watch anime, but I think, surely it was with English subtitles, but so yeah, I didn't really progress quickly, but as I developed, not only in the sense of language learning, but as a whole life, I got into self-improvement. I started doing great habits like meditation, going to the gym, gratitude journaling, getting sunlight, or sorts of stuff. I started being more aware. I quit video games. I quit wasting my time basically, and I was more and more able to discipline myself. So I tried with different materials. I got a bunch of online courses on Japanese. I mean, not a bunch, basically it was one, yeah. And I used it for a couple months, but still I wasn't disciplined enough to study. So now we are 2 years into my language learning journey, and something changed. I decided I want to start doing content creation, and I think the first video I ever uploaded, as in proper on Instagram, recorded, said, alright, I'm becoming a content creator. It was me showcasing me talking Japanese. And it was almost exactly 6 months ago. Pretty much. And ever since that, I didn't quit content creation, and I studied Japanese harder than ever. I can look back to that video and it looks like I'm talking Japanese pretty well. Like I'm talking about how I'm not that used to studying Japanese, but I know this, I don't know that. Like I still struggle with this. But if I were to look at that video, like my Japanese has improved immensely in the last couple months, you know? That whole video, yeah, it looked like I was talking pretty well, but honestly, I was like remembering the whole, basically the script of what I was about to say because I had it written somewhere. Like I had a Japanese person correct it for me, so yeah, it still wasn't perfect, you know. But throughout my Japanese learning journey, I got into communities. I got to meet amazing, amazing people with whom I keep contact with to this day. I got to experience amazing things like watching stuff that otherwise I wouldn't be able to. I got to experience this little like micro moments of when you start watching something that is very interesting and you realize that you basically understood everything, even though you're not really fluent. But that moment when you understand the whole sentence, that moment when you understand what the other person has just said to you, that is very amazing. And that moment when you are finally able to create a sentence and to like say something to the other person, they understand you, and basically you get into a conversation, you exchange insights with that person, that is just really beautiful. You know, I got the idea to make this very video just yesterday as I was watching a video of my friend who lives in Japan, like he's Japanese, and he was just talking about how he is grateful for all sorts of amazing things that happened to him because of self-improvement, because of that he was like living life basically. And he said, like he mentioned having conversations with me, he mentioned how he was like how I told him passionately about my project with creating a Japanese school, like an amazing program to teach people Japanese, to make them progress faster than I did so that they don't have to waste time, as much time as I did. Because yeah, and that is something I'm really passionate about, to teach this language, even though I'm not like amazingly fluent, but I can speak and I just love this language. So if you're watching this, I'm also very grateful for meeting you, and it all happened because I started learning Japanese. It was before self-improvement, and I think all those little dots connected, and one thing led to another, and now I'm in a place where I am, like in such an amazing place. Just a second before, I mentioned that I want to make people learn Japanese faster than I did, because I really didn't enjoy learning this language for the most part, because I wasn't able to speak it. And it all changed a couple months ago. For I don't know why exactly it happened, but I just thought to take that language learning seriously. I think it may have happened because like I got way more disciplined and way more like I got a way stronger mindset overall, so I was able to basically study, I was able to discipline myself, keep being consistent, and just properly learn this language, like for once. And for about a week, I think, yeah, it was about a week when I used to listen to this Japanese podcast, and I would practice every single day. Like I would literally wake up at 5, 6, 5. I would literally wake up at 5, 4 a.m. every single day to learn Japanese before school, because it was that thing when where after school it used to be dark outside and I couldn't really focus. I was tired after the whole day, after gym, and I was just not able to learn Japanese, and I used to like waste my time basically. But at that moment I said, fuck it, I gotta make this shit work. I used to wake up very early in the morning and practice Japanese and learn words and learn grammar and learn kanjis, everything, everything, everything. I used to listen to Japanese podcast every second that I got. Like in school, I literally had like 10-minute breaks, and I used to plug the earphones and listen to podcast. I was, yeah, and I think that changed something really, because after these couple days of like really, really studying, these 2 years of knowledge basically unlocked for me, and after that time I went to a Japanese restaurant, and I knew about this place for a while, but I noticed they're doing like an event, like a meetup, something like Japanese gathering, I don't know how you wanna call it, but I went there and it was the first time after 2.5 years of my studying where when I finally spoke Japanese, like I was in the zone, you know. It was such an amazing moment, and ever since that happened, I'm going there really often to that place. Yeah. And as I speak more, I start to love the language more, and when you see progress, then you have the motivation to keep going. And the more you study, the more you see progress, the easier it becomes to study more, you know? Recently, the last couple days, I've been more disciplined than ever. Like, my discipline is through the roof, and I can study. I, like, basically, I feel like I'm sort of a machine and I can just command myself to study even though I may not feel like it. And I'm able to study every single day and for long hours. And I really feel like I'm making progress. And I just can't wait to see where this brings me, where this amazing, amazing journey leads me to. There is a lot more things that I would love to talk about Japanese because I'm like so passionate about this topic and about languages in general. Like I literally started learning Korean, and partially the reason I'm learning it is because I want to become a better language teacher. I want to teach languages better, so I put myself in the beginner's shoes and I'm trying to study Korean in learn as much Korean as I can in 30 days. This is from 2 days, like a bunch of random notes, but I'm starting to get a hang of the language. Yeah, so there's a lot more stuff that I would love to talk about today, but it's late already. I've gotta go, like, do all sorts of other things, upload this video, like, and I don't wanna make it too long for you because, like, who the fuck is gonna watch till the end, you know? Uh, there will be more videos, of course. There will be more times where I'm talking, basically. Yeah. And if you want to support me and also skyrocket your Japanese at the same time, first link in the description is the Japanese learning school that I'm creating, like a true community. So you might want to join that. Thank you so much for watching and see you tomorrow.